All right.
All right. All right.
Look at
Look
those
at those
fillets.
fillets.
Already
Already
dry.
dry.
Fillet time.
Fillet time.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Gotta
Gotta
strengthen them
strengthen them
regardless.
regardless.
Just continuing to use the good old Tight Bond 3. Get you a craft stick, whatever size, however thick you like them. Get you a spoon, use your finger, whatever method you like. And I did use the Elmer's nozzle for this. I think it's a little bit easier than the nozzle that it comes with. Just all along that edge there. Of course, it's not even. And that is too big. Or not enough glue. It's touching a little bit on that side. Yeah, not enough. Try and get it a little bit down there at the edge, the aft end. I'm not a complete master at doing fillets just yet, but this is light years better than what I used to do back in the day. So I used to not even do fillets. Just set it, forget it, go launch it. Just kind of add where it looks a little thin. Of course, you're supposed to just do it all in one smooth motion, but not me. I'm going to go against the grain, right? Okay. But it all works out. If it's not super smooth, this is just for strength. When it's if it's not super smooth, you can always add wood filler or maybe some Bondo putty to get them extra smooth looking for the final finish, the painting. Because wood glues, it's going to have bumps and holes in it. It doesn't matter. It's the way that it dries with the water. It's going to form like little pinholes or maybe bubbles, and it's just going to be bumpy. I learned the hard way from the high flyer because I did not do that. Still came out looking amazing though, comparatively. I could think of it looking a lot worse, like throw it in a dumpster bad. Good thing is, it's a 3 fin kit, so you don't have to worry about doing it so much as a 4 fin kit. But sanding sealer Bondo does not add strength, but this does. So we definitely want to have this done. And of course, this is way after it was dried from putting the jig on and all that. This is hours later. So that's what we're looking like. I'd say that's pretty straight, pretty smooth looking. Okay. Maybe not 100% even with each side. But we leave it like that, let it dry. Let gravity work for you. Don't put it vertically because it's just going to run on you. And we're here. We got the launch lugs. And I decided to flatten one edge of them. And I probably could have flattened it a little bit more just to help them sit on the body tube. But I went ahead and did both. Also, would help with the glue, the adhesion. Just do it till you're satisfied. Just back and forth. I think that was, I want to say that was 400 grit. Kind of fine. Definitely could have went a little rougher. Just to kind of make that little line on the bottom. Just don't make it uneven. Just try to hold it in the same spot. See, I already did one of them. And that's all I did. See? Nothing too crazy. And that one's drying. And that one's drying. So you see the holes in that? And that one's been dry. That was the first one. Time to get these joined together and get this hybrid shot cord assembled. Well, the Kevlar. That right there is going to be the 400-pound Kevlar that we're going to use. And we're not going to mount this to the motor mount. We're going to mount this to the coupler. That's 1/4-inch elastic. Oh, there it goes. Oh, caught it. We're going to do the old teabag method, but to the coupler instead of near the shoulder of the upper body tube. And Florida Lotto tickets are kind of the right thickness for this. Not Powerball, not Mega Millions, Florida Lotto. So let's get our length correct, run it through, kind of get an idea what we want for our measurement. Yeah, that's a little frayed. Might put a little super glue on there. Yeah, a little super thin. We're going to put some on the end there to help with prevention of zipping, I mean. No zippers. We're going to toughen up that shoulder. So we got our super glue. We're just going to put it right on the inside of that shoulder. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. Remember, that's where the nose cone is going to go. Just kind of let it drip down a little bit, rotate it in your hand. And you might sand it smooth once it's hardened. Just to at least make sure that the nose cone comes in and out smoothly. Just a little extra love for our star orbiter. Probably could even put a little more in there. There you have it. Just let that dry. It'll also soak in just a little bit because it's that super thin super glue. And on the opposite end, that's where we're going to put our coupler. We're going to want to put that in up to the mark that we made earlier. So it's about halfway in. This all makes sense what I'm doing as far as mounting the shot cord here shortly. If you've never done it this way before. So we'll go ahead and take our wood glue and put a pretty decent amount, because remember, wood glue can make you or break you sometimes if you don't use enough. It'll just stick up on you. You can't shove it in there anymore, and you got it sticking out where you don't want it. Got to put just enough in there where it lubricates and doesn't grab on you. It's a pretty generous bead, you might say. And any excess you can always wipe up. Always have you a paper towel ready. little bit on the edge there too. Got it. Boom. I'm just kind of rolling it around. We're just going to shove that in there as quickly as possible. Get it up to that line. Flush with that line. All right, no screwing around. Just go ahead and do it. Boom. Get it in there because you don't want to waste any time. It'll sticky up on you. And once you do get it to that line, maybe give it a little twist, kind of even it out, smooth it out, smear it around on the inside, and it'll probably actually stop moving on you because it's already starting to snug up. I like to get the spirals lined up too. All right, so we're coming through a little bit. We don't want that, so I have to get that wiped out. See, starting to drip down. Clean up our mess. No big deal. The big deal would be the coupler didn't go in all the way that we wanted it to. Boom, not too bad, huh? Yeah, a little bit in there. Ain't gonna. It'll thin up a little bit as it dries. See, it's already starting to thin up a little bit. It's dried up. And this is dry. Of course, it don't take that long. It's super glue. I just want to test fit the nose cone just to see where we are right here. And a little too snug. So we're going to take some sandpaper to it. And also remember, we're going to paint the shoulder of the nose cone, which may or may not be an illegal operation, but we're going to do it. Take you some 400 or 300 grit, whatever. And just make a couple passes on the inside of there, smooth that out. Definitely don't want the nose cone snagging on ejection. Give it a wipe out so there's no dust or crust floating around in there. And do another test fit. All right, so now we got our pouch, courtesy of the Florida Lottery. Might bring us a little luck as well. Got it marked. I literally just traced that out because I don't like cutting them out of my instructions. Probably could have went ahead and went to the motor mount. We'll see how this goes as far as doing this with Kevlar to elastic. But that elastic should absorb any real shock. This is just going to be like a leader line. Like, think fishing leader. That's going to be your heat resistant part. And it's going to be probably the strongest part, definitely. It's going to do the old wood glue. Whether this is a bad idea or not, I'm really not sure. So if you guys know, let me know, because I won't do this anymore. Otherwise, by the time I post this, I would have already launched it and found out the hard way. I personally do not like having the teabag method near the shoulder because it can cause snags with the parachute, especially on the smaller diameter rockets. You know, this is a BT60 with an 18-inch parachute. You want to make sure you stop it right there on the 2, fold the 1 onto the 2, and then fold the 2 onto the 3. And then kind of press, smooth it out a little bit, smear it in there. Yeah, this is going to be all the way into basically the middle of the rocket where the coupler is instead of up near the shoulder. So it should reduce the chances of any kind of snagging because the parachute probably won't go past that and the wadding. Now, as far as that Kevlar ripping out of there, I don't know. But it seemed like a good idea at the time. So it's going to fish that through towards the nose cone end. And then we're going to get it to right about where we want it. Right about the middle of the coupler. That should be fine. Give it some glue. Just like we're going to put it, like the old standard method, just like we're going to put it by the shoulder set. We're putting it down here. You know, of course, I'm against rubber shock cord, so elastic it is, 1/4 inch. And just press it firmly. Kind of contour it to the tube. Press it firm. You don't have to really He-Man it, but just want to make sure that it kind of curves with the coupler or tube, depending on how you do it. See, it's laying pretty flat. Oh, and I learned one. Try to not lay the cord on top of itself when you fold it up into the tea bag, the pouch. Kind of see how I got it kind of to the side where it's not. That way it sits even thinner. It's not folded on top of itself, the cord itself inside the bag. Just making sure it's sticking. I didn't really get any glue all over the shock cord. Looks good. Checking on the aft end, putting the fillet down there. Got that going. Give that a wipe, just clean it up a little bit. I just put a generous bead just to fillet the body tube and the motor tube itself. But you don't want it to go too high or too thick on the motor tube itself because remember we still got to put the retainer on. We don't want it to interfere with that. If you put it on too thick, your retainer might not sit correctly. So the part that's on the motor mount itself, you want to make sure that's pretty thin. But what's connecting to the tube and the centering ring there, the aft centering ring, make sure that that's glued generously. And of course, my measurements are not correct with the motor mount. Not exact how the directions were. That's not what we do around here. We screw around, that's what we do. Might take your finger and just get in there a little bit. Q-tip. Just taking off some of the little boogers from the edge there. Sometimes we might even, measure once, cut 5 times. That's how we roll. Got this little skewer stick. Try and get in there and get a little bit more of that fillet cleaned up. See what's in the background? Write me a comment if you know what that is. I'm just making sure I'm getting it in there. Probably making it worse. But when it dried, it came out all right. And then we'll let it sit just like that, sticking up with the fins facing upwards. That way it dries evenly. Work with gravity. It's your friend, usually. I'm really going all in on this one. Making sure that it's not going to interfere with the motor retainer. This build's actually almost done. There's a couple more things to do. See, test fit, looking good. And of course, probably got some glue in. Yeah, see, we need to clean that up. But the fit, I recommend. Test fit, test fit, just to make sure. Okay, we might measure twice and maybe cut once sometimes. Maybe we're good Rocketeers sometimes. All right, here we go. I got me my little extension so I can put a fillet on the forward centering ring of the motor mount. Just going to put a little glob on the Q-tip, stick it on down there, and try not to make too much of a mess. Try and put a pretty good, decent bead of glue down there. Or maybe I already did. Yes, I already did. I was showing that I already did that. That's what I did. I used that stick. And now it's time to put the launch lugs on because we got to guide it to get it up in the air. I highly recommend, and don't throw them and then try to ignite them. It's not going to work. Might be a safety code violation, so don't do that. So we're looking for the flat end that we sanded, which I could have probably went more hardcore on that, just at least to make it easier to see. We're going to get them tacked on. We're going to put some fillets on them. And then in the paint video, we're going to get them filled in, looking good. Just line them up with that line that we made. See, notice I haven't attached the whole entire thing together. It's a long rocket, so I haven't attached the two body tubes together yet. That way it's easier to work with at this point. So my space is slightly limited. So we're just getting it lined up. And that's horrible, but we'll fix it. See? And then get the other side. That's right there on the mark. Boom. You look down the barrel of the gun. Make sure your sights are lined up. Tried and true method, I promise. Still make your line though. Still make your marks. Just don't want it snagging on the rod going up. Could even throw off your delay because most of your boost went off trying to get it off the pad. And your delay screwed up. Too long or too short. Well, most likely be too short. So now we're going to put our fillets on. fillet. Tilt it on the side that you do the one side first, and then do the other side once this dries. Let gravity be your friend. Unless you're trying to escape gravity. Be anti-gravity, you might say. It's an interesting looking thing in the background though, man. Wonder what that is. Yep, just a simple little bead. Doesn't have to be real pretty because we're going to put sanding sealer on it anyways. Squeegee it off with your finger, Q-tip, popsicle stick. Finger work good though. This makes it look like you got booger fingers. Like you're that one kid. You know what I'm talking about, that one kid. Always got the booger fingers. Ugh. Smart kid, but man, he looks like he plays with rockets all day. You know he's going to be someone's boss man someday. You already know it. Happens every time. Now once that dries, you do the other side. Get you a close-up shot. Well, I guess it's time to actually get this together. So the shot cord is sticking through. We're not going to attach the elastic on this video, by the way. We're going to do that in the paint video. And I don't know if you guys like to line up the spirals too? Let me know. It's kind of like a thing of my, I don't like to say OCD. It might be slightly offensive, but it's kind of just one of those things I got to do. In hindsight, it might have been better for me to actually do it on the coupler, put the bead of glue, so it would go inside the body tube and not come out. But I was thinking in my mind that it would also help seal the seam, because yeah, there'd be a little bit to clean up, but it also help seal the seam, which we're going to also go ahead and seal with some Bondo putty as well. Oh my God, did I forget to close the nozzle? Oh, maybe. It's bothering me. Just that drop. Come on, clean it. Slacker. Oh, what am I thinking? I just did the opposite of what I was talking about. Maybe that's what I should have did. It works out though, trust me. The guy that sometimes knows what he's talking about. And get your old toothpick out or whatever you like to use and just go ahead and seal this with some Bondo putty or sanding sealer, whatever your choice is. Or primer it, primer it, primer it, primer it. Yep, same way that we did the other spirals. Just want to make sure that we kind of shove it into the crack as best we can. And it might still show up while you're priming it, and it's going to be up to you how hardcore you want to go until you just don't see it anymore, or you kind of see it. It's also where we're going to put the paint scheme. That's where the paint scheme is going to stop. From on the bottom part, it's going to be black, and the top part's going to be orange, including the nose cone. No masking except for the transition right there. Don't have to worry about masking off fins or anything for this paint scheme. That's a good thing. Easier paint job, but you can do what you want. You have that freedom. It's a good thing to have freedom. Yeah, I definitely got this mixed up pretty decent. It's not as liquidy. It's more peanut buttery like we want. Just kind of rolling it in there. Smear it, roll it, smear it, roll it. Until it gets too dry. Then we gotta reload. And of course, this is after the glue is dried on the coupler. Or somewhat dried, at least. Also, they say it's not a bad idea to roll it on a desk or a table just to make sure that it's drying evenly and you don't have a big crooked body tube at the coupler. And of course, sand it on down. .220 would probably be fine. Maybe a little bit more harsher. Probably go to about 100 grit. Harsher? What do you mean harsh on our rocket? A grittier grit? No. Well, grittier would be finer grit. So, wait a minute. Coarser. There's the word. Of course. Of course, after you're done, give it a wipe down, blow it off, wipe it down with a damp cloth. And that should be feeling pretty smooth. Seamless transition. A little something like that. We shall see when we start putting the primer and paint on. But really, that's about it. Or take your tack cloth to it. Oh, got a little bit of spiral peeling back a little bit. Now we're smooth. Tack cloth and all. That's a wrap. So the Star Orbiter is complete. Here it is in its glory. Obviously, except paint and the retainer. I'll be bringing that to you in another video. But I want to get you guys a shot of the finished product. Almost. Let's say 90%. Alright, more like 50-60% because we do have a lot of painting and sanding to do. But I hope you guys enjoyed, as I did. It was fun. I learned. And I'm going to try and keep on bringing it to you. See you next time.